And now you're
I'm
live.
trying to.
Okay,
Trying to
folks,
get
this
Rob
is
in
House
it.
Education, Thursday, February 27th, 2025.
Uh,
To put this next conversation and a conversation we have later sort of into context, when we talk about reducing costs to Vermonters, that means property taxes, that means we need to look at the education fund, what's in it, and what are areas that we could say, Vermonters want property tax relief. Maybe this shouldn't be in the education fund anymore. We need to decide its value in the general fund. One of those that we have discussed is early college, not required, but it is certainly a benefit to many. So we're going to get two different perspectives today in two different sessions. Today we're going to hear from a superintendent of a school that is right next to a state college and sort of the impact early college has had on the ability to provide programming at the high school level and maybe financial impact. And then later we'll hear from the state colleges themselves about what the sort of income that is brought in with early college students, how important that is to their operations. So Brooke, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself and look forward to your testimony and I appreciate your patience today.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, everyone. For the record, my name is Brooke Olson Farrell. I'm a 26-year veteran educator, and for the past 8 years, I've had the privilege of serving as the superintendent of schools in the Slate Valley Unified Union School District, which I oversee 5 schools and approximately 1,250 students across the towns of Fairhaven, Castleton, Benson, Orwell, West Haven, and Hubbardton, and Addison and Rutland counties. And I'm here today to provide insight into the impact of Vermont's early college program in our district, specifically at Fairhaven Union Middle and High School, and to offer my perspective on its continued importance and areas for improvement. Over the past 4 years alone, 69 students from Slate Valley have participated in early college, primarily at the Vermont State University Castleton campus. This program has proven to be a transformative opportunity for many of our students, offering a head start on college while reducing the overall cost of higher education. The early college program provides substantial economic advantages both for families and for Vermont's economy. First and foremost being tuition-free college credits. High school seniors earn college credits tuition-free, significantly reducing the financial burden on families. Debt reduction by decreasing the cost of college. Students can minimize or avoid student loan debt, promoting long-term financial stability. Greater access to higher education. Early college increases accessibility for students from low-income families, helping bridge the equity gap in higher education. Accelerated entry into the workforce. Completing college credits in high school shortens the time needed to earn a degree, allowing students to enter the workforce earlier, particularly in high demand fields. Increase employability. Early college, according to research, participants are more likely to graduate from college, leading to higher earning potential and better job opportunities. And many Slate Valley students remain within the Vermont State College system and then ultimately contribute to the local workforce. In addition to individual benefits, the early college program contributes to Vermont's broader economic prosperity by attracting and retaining young talent, encouraging students to stay in Vermont, thus supporting workforce growth and economic vitality, strengthening communities. An educated and skilled workforce contributes to stronger communities with enhanced economic opportunities. And early college also provides significant academic and personal growth opportunities. It eases the transition to college. Students experience college-level coursework and expectations while maintaining a safety net in terms of their local high school. They build confidence. Success in college courses enhances student confidence in their abilities to exceed in higher education. It allows them to explore career interests. Students can explore potential majors without committing to specific programs, promoting informed career decisions. They develop essential life skills, time management, independent learning, effective communication are all skills that are developed. And increase college readiness. Research states that early college participants are better prepared for college and are more likely to graduate with a college degree. But despite its many advantages, the early college program does present several challenges for our district. Certainly equity concerns is still an issue, especially when it comes to access to transportation, internet connectivity, learning materials, guidance, counseling. Also, our partnership with Castleton University's Upward Bound program has been instrumental in supporting low-income families and enhancing educational and economic outcomes for these families. That program, though, is federally funded. And the new Agency of Education's application process that is going into effect for next year is unnecessarily onerous and puts a tremendous burden on students as well as our school counselors. In addition, families need clearer guidance on the rigors of early college and the benefits of upper level high school courses. Educating students and families about balancing early college demands with high school graduation requirements is critical. It is likely in a given year that we have some early college students that return to high school partway through their experience. For example, this year, out of a senior class of 94 students, 28 went to early college, but 2 returned in January.
Would you say those numbers again, Brooke, please?
Yeah, so out of a class of 94 students, senior class, 28 went to early college this year, but 2 returned in January.
That's nothing.
Thank you.
I know we have 32 kids go. And we don't have smaller than 90.
Jesus. Is there a question there? Great. Thanks. Continue on, Brooke.
Okay. So in addition, I mean, the fact that we have so many of our students going to early college, a significant portion of the senior class, say, 30%. Our upper level course offerings at high schools may be reduced due to decreased attendance. Between early college and work-based learning and CTE, 50% of more than 50% of our senior class does not attend school on campus. So therefore, it does impact class sizes and the ability of courses that we have the ability, that we can offer. The other thing that is an issue for us is community and social engagement challenges arise as students become less connected to high school events and activities. So we don't have the seniors here as role models for other students in the building. Also some just academic and logistical challenges for the early college students. Sometimes course availability is limited with students not always getting their first choice classes. And a significant portion of these classes are actually offered virtually or in hybrid formats. So they're not necessarily going to campus, and that might not suit all of their learning styles. Also, credit transferability. So not all colleges accept transfer credits from an early college program. In fact, many don't, unless they stay at Castleton. And so students just need to, and their parents just need to be really clear when registering for early college that the primary benefit of the program is to provide a more flexible learning environment and more access to personalized learning pathways. In terms of funding, the college does not communicate with local schools as technically students are unenrolled. So we unenroll our seniors that attend early college from high school, and they're re-enrolled in high school in June for graduation. So there's communication gaps in terms of trying to support those students. However, many of those early college students, in some cases, play sports or, participate in some type of extracurricular on campus, but we don't necessarily know how they're doing academically when they're unenrolled from the district.
Brooke, if I could just ask a clarification. So when we have students in town tuitioning program towns, the superintendent's office is still responsible for those students, sort of like no matter where they go. What you're saying is that if they go to Castleton, they're unenrolled, you sort of don't track them, don't have the capacity to track them. And they're
Yeah,
not
we
really.
don't even have, we don't have the authority to track them. So if they're failing their classes or not being successful in their classes, we might not find out till the end of the term when their transcript is sent back to us for credit evaluation. And by then, obviously, it's too late. So it's really challenging. In terms of like academic eligibility, which we use for athletics, we can't really do anything with that with early college students. So there's a gap there.
I'm sorry to interrupt your flow, but we do actually have another question. Representative Hunt.
Hi, thanks, Brooke. Just wondering, so if a kid fails the couple classes that they're taking at Castleton, does that mean they do not graduate from high school?
It could mean that. So what we've done, like with some of the students that have, come back on campus in January that we re-enroll in Fairhaven, we have to find a way to get them their credits then between January and June so that they can graduate with their peers. But it is definitely, it's
An
a
issue.
concern.
Okay, thank you.
The questions keep rolling in. Representative McCann.
It seems to me that not all school districts handle early college kids the same way. Because I don't think that they're unenrolled from my school. Because, I mean, I still have a teacher advisory and the kids who are going to early college are still on my list.
I believe, my understanding is according to the Agency of Education in terms of funding, they are unenrolled.
Representative Taylor has a question.
So actually, my daughter is in early college right now, so I'm experiencing some of what you are saying. But it was my understanding that they had to have all of their credits to graduate in order to do early college. No.
No, that's not the case.
And I thought dual
Not in
enrollment,
Fairhaven anyway.
and I thought dual enrollment was the other, was where they could satisfy credits through college and go through.
No, not in Fairhaven. I mean, I don't want to speak for all districts in that regard, but that's not how it is here.
Sorry to interrupt your flow. You want to go back to your testimony, that'd be great.
Oh, sure. And then certainly, loss of funding, although there is a 5% cap. So we're not, when we have 28 students going to early college, we're only losing funding, I believe, for about 4.5 students. We're still retaining funding through the education funding formula for the remainder of the students. So
That everybody is what a term we often call phantom students.
Yes.
Who aren't really there, but they're counted for tax capacity purposes.
yeah. And that's really it. I mean, that's my overall testimony. I'm certainly happy to answer questions. I do have a couple more statistics. Just out of the 28 students that are attending early college this year, 12 of them had used all of their dual enrollment credits prior to enrolling in early college. So certainly not, less than half of them had taken dual enrollment in their junior year. And this year in our junior class, we have 8 students taking dual enrollment courses.
Representative Taylor, then Representative Hunter.
Yeah, living the experience right now, I absolutely agree that if these programs are to continue, there needs to be a better system for high schools and colleges to communicate. There needs to be a better system for the students to still feel like they are part of their high school environment. Yeah, we're missing out here because these students are still active parts of their communities, and to be unenrolled from the high school and not be able to participate in a lot of the high school activities, either because of communication or other reasons, they're missing out on a lot. So I do think if this continues, there has to be some kind of a communication, there has to be some adjustments.
Our kids play school.
I was saying, do students in early college, do they have access to sports teams and all that?
Yes, they do. I
And
mean,
that's-
our concern is around academic support. So if a student is struggling in early college, you know, the high school doesn't necessarily know that unless the student is reaching out and telling, you know, the high school that, and so we're not able to necessarily provide support. And so that's, you know, some of our early college students are therefore not successful and end up returning in January.
And that's part of the communication outside, because I do think school districts and high schools are handling this differently.
Yes.
And it needs to be a more of a solid program to where everybody's applying it the same way, because in our district, my daughter was not allowed to do certain extracurricular activities because they were unenrolled from the school.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of uniformity when it comes to that.
Representative Hunter, did you have a?
Yeah, I just thinking about what I like, you know, there's obviously some really good benefits for some of the kids who do early college, but I'm wondering too, you know, you lose this huge chunk of your senior class and maybe a handful of juniors too, which is, as you said, the role models and oftentimes the leadership in the school. Do you think that you're getting more than you lose in a program like this?
I think it depends on who you ask, right? Like, I think the families and the students who have access to early college think it's a highly beneficial program.
Sure.
But I think if you ask the students and the staff here at the high school, I think you will get a very different answer, that it certainly impacts our course offerings and the culture of the building.
That's kind of where I was going, you know, the culture of the building, the class culture of the classroom, that sort of thing. Yeah, thanks.
Could you talk a little bit more about the struggle to offer upper level classes? It almost seems like you create almost a requirement that you have to do early college if you want upper level classes, because you don't have enough students to offer them, and it just goes around in a circle.
Yeah, so it limits the amount of AP classes that we offer, especially if you have a third of your senior class opting to go to early college, because presumably those are your top students academically who are choosing to leave the high school campus. So we might have an AP calculus class then that has 2 students in it. And certainly that is not a robust learning environment, or we might not even be able to offer the course. So then it limits what the kids are able to take who are still on campus.
And I would imagine you have generally had a challenging budget environment in your district. And I assume it just becomes harder and harder to justify a class with 3 to 7 kids in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And since I've been here, we used to have 6 teachers in each department, and now we have 4. So over the last 8 years, we've cut each department by 2 teachers.
Representative McCann, then Representative Harpole.
Brooke, I'm wondering if you have any teachers in your building who are teaching dual enrollment classes on your campus?
Yes, we do. We do. We have a few.
How is that
courses
handled?
like that. It depends on what they're doing it through, if it's CCV or Castleton University. There are Generally, there are AP courses and students can either take those for college credit or get AP credit. But generally, and this is the way it used to be, it's loosened up a little bit over the years, but generally the teacher has to have a master's degree in that area, like if it's math and math, to be able to teach the dual enrollment.
I guess that's right. State colleges, CCV, do not require a master's necessarily, but they can still, you can still set something up where they're teaching within your school classes, but under the umbrella of the state college system.
Yeah,
Accurate.
and I would think, you know, for early college, I think parents and families see it as an economically advantageous. And so that's why I think, you know, students are definitely pushed to early college for that reason. Some may not be totally ready.
It's interesting. We've had a number of budget requests come before us from the state college system, from CCV. And they continue to expand the eligibility of essentially free college for graduating seniors. I wonder if that economic necessity is as strong as it has been previously. Yeah.
Depends on the student.
Yeah.
They may not come.
Any other question? So how many students in the junior class or in senior class do dual enrollment? And I guess it's just a logistical question. I'm always about kids and buses. If you have kids who are in dual enrollment at Castleton, who has to provide the transportation?
So right now, we have 8 students in dual enrollment. Primarily, those classes are online or within our building, but with the transportation, right now, the student is providing that transportation if there is a class that they're taking off campus. We have budgeted for transportation in the past, but nobody really took us up on that. And as you had noted with our budget difficulties, that is something that we have cut. But definitely, I think that's an equity issue because not all students are going to be able to drive themselves to a college campus. But again, for us, most of those, I think, are online.
Yeah.
Did you?
Well,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And then I'll.
Oh, you kind of touched on this. That's what I was gonna bring up, is not only the enrollment in small classes, but the staffing and whether or not you thought you could say that your rifts in staffing were directly tied, in your junior, senior staffing, were directly tied to college enrollment.
Not direct, well, some, I would say some, but certainly not 2 in each department. I think that was a result of declining enrollment as a whole and also our budget challenges in this district.
Could you just give us a sense of the trend in enrollment at Fairhaven, what it's been over the past 10 years or 20 years?
So, I mean, I can speak when I started in this district 14 years ago, we had about 1,600 students. Now we have about 1,250 students in the district. Our high school used to be a 9 through 12 building. It is now a 7 through 12. We've moved middle school here to consolidate and closed another building as a result of the declining enrollment and funding challenges.
You said a senior class this year is 94. What would it have been 20 years ago?
Oh, it would have been well over 100, maybe 120, 130, depending.
All right. So we have a question from our Fairhaven graduate.
No, I just was gonna say I graduated with 120, 125 in,
Yep.
I don't know if you want to confess the year that was, but late 90s. So.
Any further questions? Yes, Representative Long.
I'm curious, the dual enrollment program was, in my assessment is it was to encourage students who may not be on a path to higher education. And in my understanding, it has been a successful program in doing that. So students who may be coming from challenging economic backgrounds, whatever the reason is, they may not have normally been on the path. Is that how you see early college, or do you see, okay, could you just tell me the difference between the two? I'm mostly concerned about the equity of access and the reason why students would enroll in early college. And then I want to just, while you're thinking of that, Chair Conlon mentioned about students having access to free college through new programs that are coming online in the Vermont State Colleges system, which I think is great. And I'll ask this later, but someone here may, or you may know, Brooke, those are probably for students who have to meet a certain criteria. And is that true of the early college programs, financial criteria?
So, the early college program, there's no financial criteria for that. And all I can speak about, in regards to that would be anecdotal, but I believe overall they are students who would normally be going to college anyway, that are on a college track.
Okay, and that is different than the dual enrollment.
I think for our district, I think a lot of the students that are taking dual enrollment classes are also kiddos who would be on a college track. I think there's some that maybe would not be, but generally I think it's our kiddos that are probably going to college anyway that are taking those courses.
Just to be clear, dual enrollment, excuse me, the kids stay fully enrolled in Fairhaven. They have all access to everything. It's not even what they do all day. It's only part of their school day.
Right.
It's interesting is I had sort of digesting what we're talking about here. You think of early college and dual enrollment, you think of kids going to college classrooms to learn. Everything has gone so virtual that
Yeah.
Observation.
And they're only allowed 2 dual enrollment courses for their junior and senior year. So a lot of, our kiddos are mostly taking those their junior year and then going to early college their senior year.
Got it. Representative Harple?
I'm just curious if you have some idea of, is there a specific department that bears the heaviest burden of early college? Like, is it English? Is it math? Do you have any information in that?
Advanced placement.
I don't. I think it's across the board. It's our advanced placement and honors courses across the board.
But you don't know by subject?
I don't. I would say just based on the number of credits that students need for graduation, it's probably, English, math, not necessarily social studies, but.
Great. Thank you for your time this morning. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
the
Thank you.
insight from somebody who is living early college, very much so.
Great.
All right.
Thanks so much.
We will